From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all the sport news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
Then in sports,
we had it there. It is a great opportunity to be on the other side of the divide so that we can also engage you. But away from that, let's head straight to the business of the day, starting from the National Sport Festival, because the Ogun State Governor, talking about Dakwa Abiodun, has requested Anthony Joshua to light up the Gateway Sport Festival due for May 2025 in Ogun State. A governor made the request at the State House in Abeokuta, where His Excellency hosted the former two-time world heavyweight boxing champion as he visited Nigeria for the New Year celebration. Governor Dakwa Abiodun openly said to Anthony Joshua, "I want to openly request that beside the fact that today we are going to officially confirm you as the sport ambassador, we want to request that you come back to light up the Gateway Sport Festival torch. You will be one of the lighting up." The governor conferred on Joshua Ogun State Sport Ambassador honor and promised to give Anthony Joshua a brand new home in Shagamu, AJ's country's home in Ogun State. But let's hold it from there. At Tempo, you had or you saw the picture and videos where Anthony Joshua actually met with the governor of Ogun State, talking about Dakpo Prince Abiodun, and a lot of reaction continued to elicit, especially the cultural heritage that Anthony Joshua displayed while he actually prostrated, to greet the governor, bringing that, that cultural heritage of the Yoruba land, to the world. What do you make of the visit of Anthony Joshua to enjoy the Yuletide period with his Nigerian people over here?
It is customary, and it's also very traditional to get to see some of the big names, come at intervals, come back to their ancestry, you know, to see how far they can reunite and, you know, revalidate themselves as part of the culture. So it's not, but this time around, that was not to be seen. But regardless, I still think that he's one man who is cultured, he's one man who understands, one thing I can tell you is that he's not a braggart.
True.
He has no pride in Anthony Joshua, right from when I knew him, even when he was the belt holders, you know. So I think that Anthony Joshua we saw prostrating is Anthony Joshua that would have even done better if he is holding any of the belt. But I just feel that he's one man who understands his lineage, one man who loves his country, his home country, and one man who does not discriminate with his heritage. So regardless, I feel that it is part of those. I don't think it takes anything for that meeting to have been, you know, programmed, because take it or leave it, he's a big boy. He has achieved it. If it's the money, he's one of the biggest bosses in terms of financial strength. At the Horn, anybody who knows this promoter at the Horn and matchroom boxing, you will know that he comes from a rooted background in terms of boxing. But being the best part of the Anthony Joshua was so acclaimed. But vis-a-vis, I still feel that his time at Shagamu, you know, we will be soured for a very long time. And of course, visiting the governor. Who else will he visit? Well, the governor is even in the list. We should talk about visiting the president, you know, the state house, and being welcome formally. But when you are not holding a belt, you know, that visit is lacking, and that's why. But regardless, his own governor was there to receive him, which was very, very palatable for me.
But beyond that, he has been, you know, named the ambassador of sport in Ogun State, and then again also getting that invitation to light up the National Sport Festival, that is third Gateway Games coming in 2025. What do you make of this? Do you think that it's going to add more color to the National Sport Festival that is coming, that will be hosted by Ogun State?
Yeah, I think it will add color. We need the ambassadors like this. He's a brand. Anthony Joshua is a brand. Anthony Joshua is one of the most respected boxers on social media in terms of media activity. Yeah. He has special fan engagement. I don't want to joke with that. And so the mere fact that he's in Nigeria, everybody in the world knows that he's in Nigeria, and that's the beauty of having a brand like Anthony Joshua, you know, being part of our National Sports Festival. So I think that for Ogun State, they are trying to use every veritable resources around them, including human resources, that will engender the promotion of that project come next year, you know, to herald the publicity. And for them, for me, I think it's a well thought out plan for them. I just hope that that will maintain. Getting to see Anthony Joshua, you know, doing something that will enhance the publicity of this stuff formally would be a great deal for me. I don't just want to think that will be a mere political talk. Yeah. It shouldn't end in the office of the governor. It should be well enforced so that the publicity chunk, we should see action. Anthony Joshua should be televised, showcasing and doing stuff in relation to the National Sports Festival. Only then can we truly say that truly the Ogun State government meant what they said.
Of course, Anthony Joshua's presence is actually going to add a lot of value to the National Sport Festival that will be hosted by Ogun State third Gateway Games coming 2025. And of course, you know the personality of Anthony Joshua and the media stunt that he puts out there. He has a large following, just like you heard from Temple, and he's going to add more color, more vibe to the 2025 National Sport Festival that will be hosted by Ogun State. But away from that, we're still talking about Anthony Joshua. Now, on the boxing, the Battle of Britain has eluded fans for many years and is now undoubtedly past its best before date. However, it will still be a mega fight that can steal a stadium. It is now widely agreed that the matchup is the best out there for the both men. Swedish southpaw Otto Wallin took Fury this time back in 2019, inflicting near fight-ending cuts in the Brit before losing on the scorecard after a run of 6 victories. He forced Joshua but was stopped inside 5 rounds. Speaking to Sun Sport in the experience of facing both, Wallin gave AJ a good chance but said he can't back against Tyson Fury, talking about the Gypsy King. So Temple is looking likely that the heavyweight bouts that have been touted for years between Anthony Joshua and his British counterpart, talking about Tyson Fury, would definitely see the light of the day from the report that we are getting.
Well, it looks likely because the both of them are beltless. Okay, so yeah, one will argue that if we don't get to see the fight now, is it when they now have belt holders and will have contenders coming under them that, this bout would have been held 2 years ago, but because of mandatory challengers to each of the belts they were holding, stalled that process. And then we saw how UC came, took the belts, the 2 belts or the 3 belts from Anthony Joshua, and then the rest they say is history. So we'll get to see how far. If we are going to see in the world of Eddie Hearn, this is going to be the biggest British fight, the biggest fight in British history.
Yeah.
Let's get to see how far that panned out. But I'm telling you, a lot to be expected next year. First of all, we're going to see the fight between De Boer and Parker. She said Parker come February 22nd. After that fight, we'll now know how far the heavyweight division will be shake up. But a lot will happen. And for me, we want to see this bout. How interesting would that be? Can they still live up to the hype? Well, it all depends on what the 2 boxers have to offer. But Otto Wallin is entitled to his opinion. Everybody, they are making assertions best known to them in terms of strategy, statistics, and then in terms of sentiment. But I still feel that bout like that, you can never tell. Joshua lost to Usyk, Fury lost to Usyk, so it's difficult to really tell how far. I mean, I know 2 bouts are the same, so you cannot really dispute the fact that Tyson Fury might be a very good boxer. Anthony Joshua might also be a very good boxer, so take it or leave it. The pedigree of loss Anthony Joshua has incurred makes it look like he's a lesser boxer compared to Tyson Fury, because a lot of people will argue that that Tyson Fury cannot lose to De Boer. That's the argument, but then you never can tell. Like I said, no two boxing bouts are the same. A lot of things would have been a factor for a result to have emerged. So let's keep our finger crossed. I will not even delve into the argument of what Otto Wallin, but I just feel that, like Eddie Hearn said, and he's continued to say, that this bout, if comes to reality, would be the biggest bout in British history.
Will be the biggest bout in British history, and of course we wait for that very one, hoping that Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, the loquacious man, is going to see the light of the day. Of course, boxing fans across the globe, they are keeping their fingers crossed, hoping to see that one come alive. But away from that, let's head straight to the NBA, because a lot of games actually went down. Last night, as Russell Westbrook and Nikola Jokic both scored triple-double in the Denver Nuggets 132-121 victory against the Utah Jazz. Westbrook finished with 16 points, 10 rebounds, and 10 assists, which included no turnovers, while Jokic added 36 points, 22 rebounds, and 11 assists. The Jazz led 66-64 at the break before the Nuggets pulled away in the 3rd quarter, with Jamal Murray also adding 20 points and 10 assists. Elsewhere, Joel Embiid scored 37 points and added 9 rebounds as the Philadelphia 76ers beat the Portland Trail Blazers 125-103. Tyron Maxey also had 23 points for the Sixers, while Kelly Oubre Jr. had 15 points and 8 steals. Joyce Hart made his 3rd triple-double of the season to lead the New York Knicks to a 126-106 win over Washington Wizards. Hart had 23 points, 15 rebounds, and 10 assists, alongside Karl Anthony Towns at 32 points and 13 rebounds, helping Knicks to an eventually comfortable victory after a close fight, half which resulted in the holding slender 59-57 lead. Other results saw Charlotte Hornets, being defeated by 108-115 against Chicago Bulls. Washington Wizards as well also, lost at home to New York Knicks 126-106. It ended New Orleans Pelicans as well Also lost at home against Los Angeles Lakers, 116 to 113. It ended. Utah Jazz, like I told you, they were Jazz at home by Denver Nuggets, 132 to 121. Golden State Warriors as well lost at home to Cleveland Cavaliers, 113 to 95. Portland Trail Blazers, they could not blaze against Philadelphia 76ers because they lost 125 to 103. Sacramento Kings as well, they were king indeed because they defeated Dallas Mavericks 110 to 111. But first, let me take you on Denver Nuggets. They are not doing pretty bad at all. They are seated 6th in the Western Conference right now. What do you make of their season so far?
Denver Nuggets, yes, champion 2 seasons ago. You expect that, except when Nikola Jokic is on top form, it's difficult for them to really get maximum point. That's why I check all their other games. He posts at least double figures for them to be elevated. Any game that he even some games when he posts that double figures, check the start of other players. You don't see them get to that level.
True.
So it looks more like a one man driving that team, and that's the challenge of Denver Nuggets. So I think that they need to rejig the side. They must go on. But I think they've shown consistency a little. I've seen them push forward to try to meet up to the demand, because at this level you need to be at the top layer so that you can always fight for the conference, because anything can happen. I mean, teams can come back rejuvenated, and move on. And since you are playing a lot of games, almost play every 24 hours are playing games, you need to try to rotate too. And sometimes the players also fatigue problem and all that. But it's been impressive getting to see them. They started the season very poorly. At some point, inconsistency came in, but somehow we have seen how consistent they have been in the flow of results. So for me, I think that they have really done very well.
They have really done well. Meanwhile, teams like Oklahoma City Thunders, teams like Cleveland Cavaliers, Boston Celtics, not also doing pretty bad in the Western Conference. Even New York Knicks as well. Now, if you take a look at the form of Cleveland Cavaliers, that of Boston Celtics, New York Knicks as well, who is seated third on the Eastern Conference, taking a look at the games and their form so far, talking about these 3 teams in the Eastern Conference, who do you possibly see that is going to maybe win this very championship this season? I know it is too early call to make, but taking a look at the form of this team.
For me, I still think that Boston Celtics do stand a very strong chance. Okay,
True.
If you look at their history, and anytime they blossom like this, it's that you say the Boston Celtics struggling from beginning. When you see them blaze on like this, and you still have Jaylen Brown, the big guys in the mid. So it's difficult to really say that they will not contend for this title. And then the last 4 seasons, we have not seen a defending champion winning it again. So maybe that might be the change in dynamics. But they have shown strength. Apart from Indiana Pacers, apart from a certain, some of the teams that you don't even give a chance to, they are in the top 3 of the Eastern Division. So that tells you how far they can go. And don't forget that in those 2 conferences, we have different divisions. We have like 8 divisions. Yeah. So you look at the teams from those sides, it matters too. How far are they faring? I think they have not had a very poor season, although they have had slight losses, here and there. But you cannot rule them off. So for me, any day, anytime, I sit out Boston Celtics, because Indiana Pacers might be very good. We have seen how good they can be, but that cannot be compared to the consistency of a certain, Boston Celtics, and somehow they can come back to Milwaukee Bucks. Somehow too, I've also tried, but I've not seen the level they have been as compared to a Boston Celtics.
All right, let's step away from the NBA and talk some tennis news before we head straight to the king of sports, which is football. Nick Kyrgios says he is unsure whether he will be fit enough to compete at the Australian Open after his first single match in 18 months left him in a throbbing pain. The 29-year-old Australian feared he would not be able to resume his career following surgery on a wrist injury in September 2023. After making his competitive comeback in the Brisbane doubles alongside Novak Djokovic, the Kyrgios returned to singles court on Thursday with a narrow defeat by Hugh Giovanni Pesci Pericard. Kyrgios showed plenty of positive signs as he was edged out 7-6, 6-7 6-7 by the 21-year-old Frenchman. But there was also concern as he had treatment on the right wrist, where he ruptured the scapulate ligament and needed constructive surgery. Now, for Nikarios, he was speaking very tough regarding the doping issue of Yannick Sinner the other day. He actually joined his voice to raise an alarm on the double standard of the tennis integrity unit. Now he came back after some months away from the court out there, but it's looking likely that injury might as well, blight his 2025 season, and it's not a good sign at all.
The man is troubled. Okay, the man is really troubled, and a lot. For me, all eyes is in the. I mean, it now behoves on the ATP and the governing body that sanctions tennis activities to, make a say in his doping saga. But for him, injury concerns might also be. I mean, this is what they say is what we get to know. There is a strong push from players' union on the issue of his doping saga, which also because when players speak, it is more regarded. So yes, injury concern could be emotional. Also, he's a young lad who is just growing up. We saw all that he has achieved this year, and I think that injury worries might also be another challenge. Don't forget, he was the only one who dethroned Novak Djokovic in the Australian Open, and so maybe we just get to see how far. But injury is one thing that he do not bargain for. I'm not sure any player want to be injured. I'm not sure any player want to skip games because of injury. But this happens, and sometimes you just have to take it in that fate.
All right, it happens, and sometimes you have to take it in that very fate. We wish and carry us a very quick recovery so that possibly in 2025 he will have a great time out there on the court to do what he knows how to do best out there. But at this point, we'll take a quick break. When we are back, we'll go straight to the ever busy world of football, because a lot happens, and it's still happening. Ever busy world of football. Right from Enyimba, of course, they had their game this evening, and I'm back. I'll do well to serve you the result.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring you live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economic, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATM.
right, you're welcome back from that short break. Let's head straight to the world of football this evening, but starting from the home scene, because match day 19 saw dramatic encounter in Port Harcourt as Rivers United salvaged a 1-1 draw against Plateau United in the stoppage time. Rivers United dominated possession in the first half with 58%, but Plateau United defense held firm, conceding few clear opportunities. The second half saw emotion boil over. Rivers United head coach Finidi George was sent off in the 80th minute for dissent after expressing frustration with officiating. Plateau United appeared to have sealed the win as the game entered into added time, but handsome Surveyor dramatically equalized for Rivers United in the 96th minute with a close-range strike. The equalizer sparked protest from Plateau United bench, leading to a brief stoppage in the 12th minute of the added time. Referee Fawole sent off Plateau United head coach Mbawas Magnut for dissent, capping off a chaotic final for the match. Plateau United, known as the Peace Boys, climbed to 17th place in the with 20 points, inching closer to safety in relegation battle. Rivers United, meanwhile, remain in second position with 34 points, 2 behind league leader, talking about Remo Stars. Now, temper fled yesterday in the game between Rivers United and Plateau. And from the report and from the body language of the picture that we saw, it looked as though Finidi George wasn't comfortable with the way the game was going, because they were losing at home, especially at the dying minute, and he had to also voice his frustration. But do you think that he went too far?
Yeah, I think that there is a limit, there is a thin line between what you think is right and what the referee thinks is right. At every point in time, regardless of decisions that has been upheld by the referee, you need to balance your emotions. So I think that temperament comes to play here.
True.
And that's sometimes difficult for coaches, because at that time they are buoyed by their emotions, and sometimes they cannot control it. So it's all about the personality syndrome. But I also believe that the referees controls what happens in the pitch. The best you can do is to make a case after each officiating. Okay, but activities of the pitch belongs to the referee. He has the final say on issues. But then you can also rule out the fact that sometimes coaches can be frustrated when the players are not aligning themselves to instructions. Okay, that also can be very frustrating. But vis-a-vis, it's a game of football. The end product should be one game without violence. So any form of disparaging issues, that bring dent on the viability of the league should be questioned. And somehow we saw that yesterday. But if after 24 hours the decision of the referee has been upheld, then you can now go back to say that it is possible that the board did not find anything unworthy of what the referee did. Rather, it's a fair officiating. So we'll leave it as that and hope that more can be done. That also tells that anything can travel away from home and pick by that point when the environment is conducive enough. Okay, and that's what the league this season or this half season have really done. Much thanks to the Benga led board of Nigeria Premier Football League.
You talked about going away to pick a very vital point. Just this evening around 4 p.m., Enyimba had a match against Bendel Insurance, but that game produced no goal as it ended 0-0 at full time. So this is another very vital point for Bendel Insurance, and not a good one for Enyimba, who sacked their coach, talking about Yemi Olarewaju a few days ago, to bring back their former coach as well. So not a good start, or do you think it's a good start for their new coach?
Not losing at home is, you cannot say, at the Enyimba Stadium, and with the way the league is going. Enyimba have lost, okay, they have not lost this season at home. So maybe they are still invincible because they are one of the teams, they are one of the 5 teams yet to lose at home. For them, it's normal. The man was just appointed a few days ago. So it's difficult to really to have overseen the training session of how to utilize all the players. It is not magical. I think that he needs more time. In fact, he needs time because he's just coming into the side. The man who was assistant coach years ago is not the same man who is now the helm of affairs of the club now. So things have really changed. And so I think that for Bender Insurance, the Benin Arsenals, thankfully they went away from home, played beautifully, you know, and they were able to get more time to Greg, the coach of the side, who was able to put that masterpiece. They are seated 17th on the log. So they are seated 17th on the log. That means they are just a few points above the relegation waters. And this point will do them a lot of good because they to travel away from home and getting better points like this, especially at the Yimba Stadium, can be very dramatic on a Utah period like this, because I know that stadium will be filled to its brim. So I think it's a good result more for the Benin Arsenals, who will hold this as a solace. This is the last match before they break fully. Yeah. But then for Yimba, I'm sure that the next target will now be what can be done now to salvage points from their standing games that they have. But that will be done when the break resumes. So for now, I think that the draw is a reflection of how beautiful the league has been organized, courtesy of good security and good work from the MPFL board, and it's a function of intentional approach to duty. And so, like I said, I think that Goma is welcome to the reality. He knows how the league functions, and he needs to use this period of break to really look at the side and that players needs to get. Idaye is with them now. Is Idaye good enough for the continent or for the home game, domestic games? Let's see how far. But a lot of questions will be asked, and the true nature of what is happening in Yimba is likened to what is happening to Manchester United in the English Premier League.
All right, that is what you had there, that you know, what is happening at Enyimba is more likened to what is happening at Manchester United. But I take a different opinion to that, because Manchester United, I think their problem is getting worse every day that comes by. But away from that, the board of the Nigerian Premier Football League has announced a mid-season break following the conclusion of the first round of matches for 2024. According to the league body, the midweek break will last for 3 weeks, while transfer market will be on from January 6th to February 5th, 2025. The league is expected to resume on January 25th, 2025, with a second round of matches, as Remo Stars lead the log with 36 points, closely followed by Rivers United in second place with 34 points. To this effect, clubs in the league have embarked on break, allowing their players to spend time with their families during the course of the break. Meanwhile, Remo Stars ended the first stanza of the league with 36 points, while Rivers United closely followed them on 34 points. 3ST, Rangers International, and Academy Warriors occupied third, fourth, and fifth position with 33, 31, and 29 points, respectively. All right, away from that, let's head straight to the Carabao Cup, because a lot is also happening there. It has been confirmed that referees will announce the outcome of VAR reviews during the next week's Carabao Cup semi-final first leg. This is the first time this will happen in the English football. However, it will only come into play when the referee has visited the pitchline monitor for the subjective overturns. It will also be used for factual intervention for offside and accidental handball by the goal scorers. Now, Temple, this has been a serious controversy and debate. The issue of coming out to give a decision after going to the side monitor, to take a look at some of those incidents. The fans are always kept at bay. They don't know the reason why a referee or a center ref, after going to the monitor screen to come and give is either a penalty or a foul or a red card. The fans are always excluded from all of this. I mean, they stay involved. But this time around, the FA is saying, yeah, the VAR is there. We are going to go a step further. After a referee goes to the monitor screen and check the incident, now it behoves on the referee to announce to the crowd, to the spectators, the reason why he or she had to award that penalty or possibly a red card. Do you think that this is going to douse some of the tensions and clamor that we've seen from the side of the fans over the years?
Well, whether it does or not, I think that the controversy continues to rage on. Why I said so is because even they themselves, they are now I mean, the invention of VAR was to mitigate some of the, sentiments attached to officiating. And sometimes they're looking for they are trying to re-innovate and enhance the performance of VAR. And so let's see if this one that has been initiated will be adhered to. Where you now explain to fans the reason behind a particular decision. For me, all these things doesn't matter. If you are sticking to one, stick to one. Let's get to see in the same outline that this was agreed upon. The red cards, the decision to give red cards is subject to the what? To the VAR. So you see that the inconsistency in rules, especially as concerns VAR, the video assistant referee, they are making it look like the VAR is not mechanical. If we are working with the mechanical stuff, let us go mechanical. I mean, a lot of persons are even confused. Which one do we now go for? Which one? A lot of persons are still studying the VAR. True. But on daily basis, on quarterly basis, they come up with policies that look as if we are controversial, that makes us look like we don't even know what we are doing. So for me, all this is just confusing the fans the more, because the fans are now thinking of, instead of to think about how to align themselves with some are still learning how the functionality of the VAR. So I think that the PG mall or the rules should be very clear. Like in the Liga Santander, these rule changes are not inconsistent. We know what is obtainable. True. The VAR takes certain position on issues. And stance. And we have not heard about this inconsistency of changing VAR action and all that. That's why I said that if you are going with mechanical, be mechanical. If we are using human, let's use human. Because the area of saying that you want to test run, getting back to the fans will always complain, even with those decisions. So I'm thinking that, well, let's get to see how far it pounds out in the Carabao Cup. But I still tell you, we cannot. But fans' desire are insatiable. That's how I would also put it. So this will not even solve this challenge.
All right, it will solve the challenge, but away from that, let's head straight to the challenge of Manchester United, because Newcastle beat Manchester United in the league game at the Old Trafford for only the second time since 1972 to condemn their host to a third straight home loss in all competition for the first time in more than 60 years. And not since Sir Mark Busby days in the 1962 to 63 season have Manchester United lost 3 home games in a row, but early goals from Alexander Isak and Joe Linton gave the Housemen a thoroughly deserved victory that left them 5th in an unimpressive end to 2024. Newcastle have won their last 4 Premier League games, with the excellent Isak taking his tally to 12 and his recent strike rate to 8 in 6 Premier League games so far. So it was another dismal and disjointed display from Manchester United tempo. With the pressure now piling on with Amorim, do you see him staying to the end of the season, or are you seeing a man that is going to be sacked before the end of the season?
Avagi, I mean, is it not too early to start calling for his sack? Yes, he's lost 3 consecutive games at home, which is not lovely, which is not palatable. And everything, wherever he is now, will be thinking, Shibi, I said it. People thought it was just my fault, but clearly, I mean, a lot. But for me, one thing very outstanding is it clearly placed Manchester United, as a club that has internal challenge that needs to be dealt with. Sometimes even the management are not conversant with what they need to do to change the narrative. But obviously, I think that a lot needs to be done. An overhaul of the team needs to be looked into, because there seems to be something that is happening behind the scene that we don't get to know. What we only know is the things that we get to know. And journalists themselves have gone deep miles to see if they can decipher. But it still boils down to the affairs, the way the team is run on a daily basis. So I think for Amorim, you cannot tell me that Erik ten Hag, as good as he was in Ajax, would expect that, if it continues like this, yes, it will go down to the prediction of Amorim that says that they might be relegated, and which is not that. That would be a mayhem. That would be a devastating blow to not just a club but to the English Premier League at large.
True.
You know, so I think that it is not clear and visible to the blind that there is an inherent challenge with Manchester United setup. Maybe go to the market, get players, but we've seen coaches also got players in the past, and those players did not live up to the expectations of of getting Manchester United back to its glory days. This time around, we're not even talking about glory. We're talking about them competing at the highest stage, competing among their equals. So I keep my finger crossed, but as per second Ruben Amorim, I don't think the management are looking in that direction. Rather, the same pressure that the other coaches have faced will be placed upon them. And if the fans tell themselves the truth, maybe be like Chelsea, accept defeat, accept that you are no longer the big team that you have been, accept that things have really changed. The problem with the fans is that they are still thinking that they are there, they can bounce back. You can't bounce back when you are going down. They are drowning, and they need to accept that we are drowning so that they can be helped. It took Enzo Maresca, it took a lot of changes, rejigging of the Chelsea side to come from where they were last season to where they are now, even if they are still struggling. So I think that Manchester United have not accepted, the board have not accepted that there is a challenge in Manchester United. The coach Amorim is thinking that with his excellent tactics at Sporting can bring him back, to can rejuvenate the side. It is not true. There's a fundamental error that needs to be, looked into in Manchester United, and that comes from the board. They need to see they're not the players, because take these players from another club, you still see them deliver the goods. So you ask yourself, what is happening? Theater of dreams, like a colleague of mine said, it's not a theater of nightmare. So, Mike, regardless of what you say, it is dim. There's darkness in Old Trafford, and we need careful examination so that we can use a torchlight to illuminate, and brighten the environment. Until that is done, the darkness continues to cripple and grapple everything that has been built, by the formers.
Quite disappointing one for Manchester United. Just like Temple said, there is darkness, there is gloom and doom hovering around the Old Trafford, the theatre of dream that have been turned to a theatre of nightmare. Not a good one for Manchester United fans across the globe. But then, this brings me to another question which you talked about. You talk about, now Manchester United is just 6 points above relegation zone. In fact, they are gradually sliding down towards the relegation zone. Do you think that with their, uninspiring display, Manchester United, do you see them heading to relegation?
Anything I'm relegated. The only thing I have not been relegated in the top flight is Arsenal.
True.
And so if you don't play well, you'll be relegated. And one thing I know about the English Premier League is that the moment in fact, teams, there's no fear factor anymore. Teams feel that they can dismantle you. They can not to dismantle you. If you are not careful enough, before you get yourself like Manchester City, you are out of your vision, your value, and your objective for that season. You start thinking about relegation. So 6 points, dragging relegation with teams. You now ask yourself, where are we headed to now? But I don't think that they will be relegated. What I think that they will struggle. And Manchester United, with the financial fair play rule, is not a team that should not be in the top, is not be in Europe. Because when you're not in Europe, there are a lot of largesse that come with being in Europe that will not be, your club will not take part in. So I think that they need to look deep. They need to do the needful. Is it about going to the market? Maybe Ruben Amorim, you excuse him to say, okay, he wants to get one or two of his players that will help him beef up the squad. But is it about the players? Well, for me, until January is done and dusted, I cannot tell. Maybe we'll just wait to see how far that goes. But for me, I think that Ruben Amorim should be excused of these challenges, this failure. I don't want to attribute it, even if I still know that no matter how good you are in leagues outside the top 5 leagues in Europe, it's difficult to really bring in that weight of experience into the English Premier League. The English Premier League is no respecter of a person and no respecter of club. Any club can beat you hands down on a good day.
Any clubs can beat you hands down on a good day, and that is what is actually happening to Manchester United. Any club right now goes to Old Trafford and just walk away with all 3 points. Well, in other results, we also saw Chelsea surprisingly were beaten by Ipswich Town, who got their first home victory of the 2024 season. Courtesy of that last goal came off the boot of their former player, talking about Hudson out there. And Aston Villa as well played 2-2 draw against Brighton last night in the English Premier League, and these are some of the games that went down. Meanwhile, head coach Wayne Rooney has left Championship strugglers Plymouth Angels by mutual agreement. The 39-year-old former England captain oversaw just 4 league wins and suffered 13 defeats in 23 Championship games after taking charge of the Pilgrims in May. Rooney came home to Park 4 months after being sacked by Birmingham City following an 83-day spell in charge as he brought his game to an end. Just 5 wins out of 15 games. So Wayne Rooney, from being sacked at Birmingham, now this time around being sacked again. In fact, they had to code it in a very respectable manner. They said it's a mutual consent. But I tell you, it hasn't been easy, the job of coaching. Many people thought, yeah, as a great player, great career, did well for United and England, is going to make a good coach. But it's very clear that you were a good player during your playing days doesn't necessarily make you a good coach, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And that's the argument of some football pundits like Simeon, BBC sports writer, who this morning also expressed vividly that the fact that you're a good player does not translate to you becoming a good coach. I agree with that full time. Go and ask Lampard, he will tell you what is happening to him there. But I think that for Wayne Rooney, he's done his best, okay? It seems things aren't just working for him, and he needs to accept the reality. One thing also, you don't take for granted that when he left Birmingham, before he was invited to be part of this team, the team were also struggling. He came into the side thinking he can rejuvenate the hopes, and unfortunately, he have to go on mutual consent. It's not a good one. It's not been a good coaching career for a man who was once touted to be the arrow man in the Old Trafford, the arena then.
Not a good one for Wayne Rooney, but we want to end the year in a very good note to our viewers, our fans out there. So we have a package for you. Just go down to our YouTube handle, get to mention the name of our guest. He was a big fish in the house yesterday. Just drop the name of that guest that we had in the building yesterday, and then you get to win for yourself a recharge voucher. The first person to drop a comment telling us the full name of the big fish that we had in the studio on Sport Talk yesterday, you have a chance of winning for yourself a recharge voucher. So we want to give back to our fans out there. Go there right now to our pages, all our social media handles, they are there. Get to communicate with us, and we'll do well to get back to you. But this is where the cookies crumble on today's edition of the show. But don't forget, I did the show alongside my co-host Ekpo Temple. My name is Emmanuel Michael, and I'm saying let's see again next year.